everybody, this is John for MTG Nexus coming at you with some more Incinerator burn here. This version is not my own, it's based off of Bosiedon, a user within the Burn Discord. As a friendly reminder, if you like what you're seeing on the channel, and especially like lightning bolt based content, whether it be burn, John, Death Shadow variants, etc., please consider subscribing to the channel, as we aim to be the most informative modern-based channel for modern on YouTube, with a sprinkling of Pioneer and Legacy. So what's unique about this build from what I was running? Main deck's relatively the same. Last version now, obviously we were still running the 4th Seal of Fire, the 4th Incinerator, mainly for testing purposes. Bosiedon's mainly cut that for 2 copies of Searing Blaze, because he noted some vulnerabilities in some tribal matchups. And the mana base is a little bit different here, trying to wiggle in enough fetch lands to make a 1-of Stomping Ground fit for the sideboard plan, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then 1-of Stomping Ground, we've cut 1 copy of Sunmake Canyon, 1 copy of Fiery Islet, but otherwise the rest of the mana base is the same. Up the fetch land count to 8 overall. Doesn't really matter which ones. You could have Scalding Tarns in here, you could have more Bloodstained Mires, Iron Maces, etc. But that's pretty much what the game plan is. That way you get 9 sources of green mana. Sideboard, one thing we differ on is I've pretty much given up on fighting the graveyard decks, which is mainly Dredge. Could obviously have it against Storm, but I think Storm is a reasonable enough matchup that you don't necessarily need Rest in Peace. Instead, I'm opting for 2 copies of Core Firewalker over the 2 Rest in Pieces he has in his list. Other than that, his sideboard is card for card. We have 4 Path to Exile, which obviously is pretty good in the creature matchups, especially decks like Goblins. 4 copies of Skullcrack, because life gain is still a thing. Now we come to the interesting part, where I have the 2-2 split on Smash and Wear Tear. He opted for 3 copies of Destructive Revelry. Obviously, this is a more powerful utility spell. Does damage, etc., etc. The downside is you have to warp your mana base a little bit to play it. I was always of the opinion that the Canopy lands were worth not splashing green anymore, as I was previously a huge proponent of things like Cindervines and such. But the card that he was trying out was Klothys, God of Destiny. This card could come in against Snow, could come in against Jund, could come in against the Burn Mirror. So, wide variety of things this can come in, and just kind of this slow grinding, ticking clock to just kind of close out the game. You know, sometimes where we struggle with, drawing an extra land or drawing a creature they can kill. Klothys is very difficult for a lot of decks to deal with. I witnessed this firsthand in the Jund Mirror. It's just difficult to deal with for Jund. Snow, they can't path it, they can't force it, so if you can sneak it under counter spells, unless they have Teferi bounce or Cryptic Command bounce, this is a very difficult card for them to deal with. Oftentimes they have to jump through hoops to do it. Meanwhile, you're still battering away at their life total. So, interesting tech. See how it does. I believe he's 5-0'd once or twice with Klothys in his sideboard, so I figured we'd give his list a run. And let's hop in the league. Back for match number 1. We're on the draw. Fortunately, this hand's a mulligan because of the 4-lander, and none of them are Canopy lands, so... This hand isn't, like, fantastic either, but I think it's a keep. Put back one of the basic mountains here. Go from there. Hopefully our Goblin guy can do some work, otherwise this hand really needs to rip well off the top. Looks like we're up against humans, which is a... Oh, elementals. Alright. Sure, that's randomly good against us. Fiery Islet. Kinda heat is the elemental deck packing, no pun intended. Thunderkid Awakener. That's annoying. Is that power or toughness? Toughness. Alright. So, much as I want to bolt to get the extra... I was afraid of something like, whatchamacallit coming down here, Lightning Skill Elemental, but I think since it looks like they might be looking to play the longer, grindier game, oh, we're about to get Skill Elemental, aren't we? Yep. Fortunately, we have 2 lands in our hand here, so it's not as big of a blowout as it could have been. So let me innate. I think we're a little ways off from winning this game, unfortunately. Okay. Let's get that taken care of. Deck is so bizarre. Not exactly what I had on my bucket list. Insolent Neonate, Insolent Neonate. Risen Reef. For Shrikmaw. Kind of annoying here. Gotta kill the Risen Reef. Okay, Shrikmaw, kill our dude. Fetch lane in play once again for Searing Blaze. Okay, am I dead? The Risen Reef, yeah. Alright, after a very bizarre game 1, we beat Elementals. Definitely want paths. Question is, do we want something as slow and clunky as Clothis? Maybe? Haven't seen Elementals list lately, so... Are you an Ether Vial deck? Urbagurga. They are in fact an Ether Vial deck. The weird ace deck. 2 Clothises. Want skull cracks and some number. I guess just 2. Sealer of the Glade's a difficult card to combat as is. Urbagurga. We have a lot of cards that are problematic in the matchup. This is a pretty reasonable burn hand overall. No creature on 1. Seems good for the home team, except for they probably have either Unsealed Mariner or Voice of Resurgence here. The only thing that makes sense, right? Looks like voice. Opponent is currently voice activated. No pun intended. And they can still cast Skelemental, which is problematic, but I can't really leave the card up. So do this. So we can hold a fetch land in hand. Yep. So are we pitching Skullcrack in a land? That's almost ideal. So stupid that that's 1 mana. We're in attack mode, obviously. Something to chump block with at least 2 of these. You can draw Ether Vial. Cool. Ether Vial's a blank. To 1. See what you can do. Okay, looks like a Risen Wraith, which I think I'm perfectly fine with. Alright, and we got there. Nice. Back here for match number 2. We're on the play. Sand's pretty reasonable over. Well, nope. Never mind. 1 lander. It's a mulligan. It's like the sand's pretty reasonable over. Never mind. 1 lander. Sand's a little bit better. I think we put back Skewer the Critics because it's the most awkward card, potentially. Maybe we put back one of the lands. We're going to put back one of the lands for now. Maybe that's incorrect. Maybe I'm being a little too conservative here. Alright, unfortunately we don't have a kill spell for Mana Dork. It looks like we're up against Gruul anyway, so... kind of frustrating overall that we don't have a kill spell for that, but... could go Spike Skewer. Just kill the elf here. Oh, nothing. Okay. Possible our opponent's got like a bolt or something here, I suppose. Us dealing with less damage to ourselves is just bad. Feels like they have a stomp, maybe. Okay. Presume they just play this out or play like Clothis or something. Bone Crusher Giants on an adventure. Land in hand in case we draw a Searing Blaze. We cannot miss on this draw step though. Bloodbraid Elf here. Chandra, interesting. Again, I shouldn't have played the land. Guess if they have a Glorybringer, we're dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Guess Glorybringer wouldn't be lethal in and of itself. Okay. They have a land. So many things kill us here. Bolt kills us. Stomp kills us. Another Bloodbraid Elf kills us. Okay, got one more draw step. Yep. Seems about right for Gruel. Alright. Like, is this a Clothis matchup? I honestly don't know. I feel like this is a two-path, maybe two Skullcrack kind of situation on the play. 14 points of burn. Like, this hand's functional, but I just don't think it's good in the matchup. This hand's far better. Probably put back path, I'd guess. Get the stomping ground out of the deal, sure. Interesting. That was dumb. Meant to get stomping ground there. Not stomping ground, well, the anger of the gods is going to cost you. Spyro. Interesting. So this is just Swift Spear plus Seal of Fire. Get in for 6. Any spell they cast that isn't 4 or greater kills them. Okay. Good. Funny part is we don't even use the green mana in this game. Like, we could bring in D-Rev to try to like snipe their Utopia Sprawls. It's very clear their Blood Moon-esque effects are Magus. I'm supposed to bring in 2 Skull Cracks over 2 Eidolons on the draw. looking the four-lander. Sounds fine. Back on the incinerators. Alright, that makes life a lot simpler. Just go Goblin Guide into, or I can do that, I guess. I don't know. Guess I'm just supposed to get in while I can with the damage. Topias roll, sure. Okay. Less annoying. Bloodbraid Elf. Interesting. Trigger. Anger of the Gods. One, two, three, four, five, six. Seems unlikely they have a bolt effect in hand. I mean, if they do, then we're in trouble. Like, a lot of trouble. Wow, they had a bolt effect in hand. That's really annoying. Incredible discipline on their part. Loss puts them to 12. Yep. Them to 9. Spyro. An 8 here. Sure, so we're basically dead next turn. So we have to rip really well here. Don't think there's anything that saves us. Maybe Pathwood. Yep, that's game, unfortunately. Super close. Back here for match number 3 against a Luris deck. Interesting. Doesn't really matter what deck we're up against. This hand isn't particularly good. The 4 lands are just too much. This hand's okay. It's not like fantastic. Probably put back the fetch lands. I was gonna say it's probably a Burn Mirror or Bogles. So suspend the Riftbolt. Lava Spike. We will match them almost step for step here. Okay, probably an Eidolon would be my guess. Bolt and Skewer? Or are we getting Incinerator? Okay. Well, hello there. Still a chance we could be dead this turn. But okay. Another 3. So force a response. If they crack the fetch, they're dead. So Boros Charm would kill us here. Lightning Bolt. Untap some type of 1 mana spell. It's still have enough life to work with here. Helix would be unfortunate. Skullcrack, sure. Okay, so he gets to put me to 2. But then you can't cast another spell. So the game is over. So that's the situations where Eidolon is such a beating sometimes. Alright, so we get to try the Clothis tech here. We get some core Firewalkers. Definitely a bit of a weird one in terms of what our game plan is going to be. Boros Charms and Eidolons can all come out. Those of you that aren't aware, I'm not a huge fan of Eidolon in the mirror, especially on the draw. I could bring in Skullcracks, which is certainly a possibility, but I think the rest of our cards are just better, especially with Clothis and Firewalker. Path to Exile here to answer other creatures, plus mainly other Firewalkers. Skullcrack's the only other card you could consider with Lightning Helix, but I think that game of chicken, especially on the draw, becomes a lot harder. So this is going to be hard on our mana in terms of, like, okay, this isn't a hard choice. This is a mulligan, unfortunately. Like, it's not a good hand overall anyway. Like, these Lava Spikes are like one of our weaker cards in the matchup. I think I'm tempted to keep this hand, but as to what I'm pitching, is it crazy to just pitch the Incinerator here? Maybe it's the Goblin Guide. Like, Incinerator could be tricky potentially to get on board, but this hand needs to draw lands regardless, so. And Path, the sole reason I'm keeping Path over like Goblin Guide or anything is, first off, one of the better cards in the mirror match can be Blaze effects. So generally you want to do your best to minimize how good your opponent's Blaze effects are against you. This is a bit awkward, but I think we fetch a Sacred Foundry, even though it does us extra damage. Just going to go ahead and Seal of Fire this so there's no shenanigans. Our thing is we need to draw lands, their thing is they're down on resources, so. Yep, we could easily just die to a good draw from them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fire off a bolt to their face just because mana efficiency is going to be kind of paramount for us. As much as I would like to hold that on, to turn that on Blaze, it's more important that we hold up interaction for their stuff. Yep, it's got a good burn hand without any life gain in sight like a Clothis or anything. I think we could just get burned out. So one of the dangers with keeping a reactionary burn hand is it's just sometimes it's difficult. Lava spike. Yep, they just had a really good burn hand. Four, 8, 11, 14. Yeah, Goblin Guy would have been better in shot than Incinerator, most likely in this case. Though there's a good chance with him sitting on a spell that it could be Searing Blaze? It's likely either Searing Blaze, a land, or a creature. My guess is Searing Blaze. Because I think they would have deployed a creature by now. I mean, we were dead to the creature. Well, we were dead to the lava spike, regardless of the Swift Spear. Alright. So, that hand was hecka awkward. Because they have Boros. It's got the mulligan, unfortunately. This hand's pretty darn good. Who am I putting back? Oh. In the canyon. Yep. That makes things a little awkward for us, but I still think we I was gonna say, we really gonna do the no attacks, no blocks game? Go ahead. pretty clearly don't have a Path XO here. Trigger. Get a mountain. Do I like to use this ability? Yes. Yep. What is the point of leaving a Swift Spear back? It's not like you can block the Firewalker. Okay. So if you were going to do that, wouldn't you have been better off playing the basic mountain to crack it? Yeah, I'm severely questioning my opponent's decision making. And if we ever hit another fetch land, the game's probably just going to be over. Okay. Okay, push it to 1. Alright, I mean, that's one way to win the mirror, I guess. Never gonna draw a land, turn on Clothis. Ooh, well. On to the next match. Back for the 4th match. Sand at least is worth taking a look at. Like, we have a lot of 1-mana plays. but I just don't think this hand lines up well enough against a lot of the meta, so... Sure, keep his hand, put back one of the Searing Blazes, I guess. I guess the card that could have the highest upside, but multiples could be really awkward, so... Razor Root, stick it into Mana Dork. Oh, Bogles. Okay. Alright, one of our worst matchups. Mm-hmm. You're really willing to trade your Totem Armor for a Goblin Guide. Interesting. Another Bogle. So no attacks and no blocks. Seems weird. Like, obviously, if they have whatchamacallit, we're just dead here, so... Alright. Chandra's Incinerator is out. Skull Cracks and D-Revs in. Searing Blazes can go out. There are some draws where they have to rely on Dryad Arbor or Core Spirit Dancer, but, you know. To skewer the critics, I guess. And don't think Klothys is worth it here. Path has some narrow applications, but like I said, very narrow. Do I risk keeping this hand simply because it has D-Rev? Probably not. If it was 2 lands, it'd be a snap keep. This hand's pretty decent. Keeping... What are we putting back here? Riftbolt, I guess. Turn 0, Leyline, yep. No Bogle. Seems risky, Cotton. Seems risky. Dirty Armor, sure. Are you gonna get Dryad Arbor? No. So how Edgewalker makes a little more sense. Well, So you're saying we're pretty screwed. Gotcha. Yep. Yep. And scout. Okay. Alright. Really wish we had another D-Rev, but, you know, I guess we're making a quasi-game of this. Wedge Walker. Sure. Alright. Sure. Maybe we'll get lucky and I'll swing with both. D-Rev off the top one time. Am I supposed to have Clothis in this matchup? Maybe, just because it's a targeted spell that isn't necessarily targeted, or a spell that can deal damage just isn't necessarily targeted if we get no standstill like that again. So I'd like to play first. This hand is so close yet so far away. I still think we keep it though. Man. If we ever draw out the green source, I think we're in good shape here. Sure. Could easily have Path to Exile here. We need a green source, we need a green source. Hey, hey, hey. Griff Spoon, sure. Pass like the only card that makes sense here. Yep, need to rip that green source really badly right about now. Bang. They have Griff Spoon too, don't they? Sure. Unfortunate losing to Boggles, but that's Boggles, good Boggles. We're back for match number 5. One to play. One Dander can't keep. Hand's much better. Grab Secret Foundry for now. Some people would argue that you should grab Basic Mountain on turn 1 when you're not sure if you're in a racing contest or what. With this version having less Inspiring Vantages and less Shadow. Sure. Somehow I don't think that's what they were supposed to play there. Figured as much. Okay. Okay. Targeting themselves. Triggers. Triggers bobble. Alright, and our opponent scoops. So 3 or 4 color Death Shadow. This feels like it might be a Clothis matchup. Feels like it's a Path to Exile matchup. Feels like it's a Eidolon. Well, no, Eidolon Stand. This is definitely a Searing Blaze out matchup. Maybe Incinerator on the draw matchup. That's kind of a rough one. Definitely bringing these in. Could potentially bring in Skullcrack for like Collective Brutality, but especially on the draw, it's kind of hard to line up. It's just like shave 2 Boros Charms, shave 1 Chandra's Incinerator. Alright, I mean, it's a card of magic. It's a hand of magic cards. Do I keep this hand though? Guess knowing the matchup, we go ahead and keep it. Like we're probably going to get discard spelled. Question is, what do they take here? Probably Clothis. I'm going to take Eidolon. Okay. Big fishy. Okay. Yeah, looks like they have big fish this turn. think they'll end up shuffling that away. Sure. No blocks. If you have TBR, we're dead. They're big fishy. We have another stubborn to know. Nice. That was an insane league. On to the wrap up. So, I'm not doubting the power of Clothis, and I did like having access to D-Rev in the Bogles matchup. However, the problem with the 3-color mana base is definitely real. You know, even with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 green sources, you're still, you know, like there was that one stretch in the Bogles game, if we drew a green source, the D-Res would have been really good. Clothis, we brought this in quite a bit, didn't really see much of a chance to see it shine. It certainly helped us, again, a little bit against Death Shadow there, buy us a little bit more time, threaten their graveyard. I still like Core Firewalker over Rest in Peace. I think I'm more likely to see a red deck than I am a graveyard-based deck at this point. I think between Goblins and Burn and Prowess, I'm more likely to see a red deck. Whether these two can coexist in the same list or not, mana-wise, debatable, but, you know, Firewalker did basically single-handedly win us the Burn Mirror in game number 3. So, or game number 2, whichever it was. So, you know, didn't really see a lot of Incinerator draws that game. I mean, maybe that's a result of cutting a Seal and cutting an Incinerator. We did have a lot more mulligans. I was mulliganing a little bit more aggressively with the one-landers this league, I think, to somewhat better results. So, gotta continue working on that. And then the matchups overall. You know, we played against quite a few different decks. We played against, I forget what match number 1 was. Played against Gruul, we played against Bogles, we played against Death Shadow. You know, there was a lot of different matchups on the Burn Mirror, and I still can't remember what match number 1 was. So, you know, all that said, you know, we played against a ton of different decks. Got to see things. Oh, Elementals, that's what it was. So, you know, we got to see a wide variety of decks. Didn't see a control deck this league, which Clothis probably really shines against. But definitely was an interesting build. So, good job, Bosiedon, with your 73 of 75 that we played. And we'll probably run it back in the next league, something similar. want to test the green splash a little bit more. Seems at least interesting in theory, so we'll see how that goes. This has been John for MTG Nexus with Incinerator Burn with Clothis in the sideboard.